outside of him, the Tree King number 16 of Ryan Barry as well. Ryan doing a great job here tonight. And Graham Standring, I believe you're down there with none other than Thomas Meserow.
Yeah, it's the first chance I've had to talk to T-Mez tonight. He's so popular. I've been in the queue for a while and had to go home because I just wasn't going to make the grade. Mate, how's it going so far?
Oh, it's been good. You know, we came down here last time to run the midget, and this time the Sokals invited me to run the wing car, and the wing car is just magical. You know, they're fire-breathing dragons, so hopefully I can tame the 47 tonight and get this thing up on the podium. We got our work cut out for us. We're starting 11th, but that's okay. That's okay. We got to go forward, and I think I got it in me.
I think you have too. I watched you obviously on video in Adelaide where you finished 5th. I watched you at Palmerston where you did a really good job until the engine fell over, and I don't doubt that you can do it. Are you going to run the top or the bottom?
You know, it's tough because the wing cars, you really don't want to follow. You know, that's the key because of the dirty air. You can't see the air, but I think it's dirty when you're behind somebody. So that's what I'm going with. You know, so if guys go to the top, I go to the bottom. Guys go to the bottom, I go to the top. It's that's what makes sprint car racing fun. You just wing it in there on the gas, and hopefully it's not wheeling and driving into the fence.
Well, certainly we hope you all the best. From 11, keep an eye on the car. 47, T-Mez.
Hey, thank you so much for coming out and joining the show. We really appreciate it, and love Western Springs. Excited to get the feature in here tonight.
Good stuff. Thanks.
Thanks very much there. Graham Standring down with none other than Thomas Meserow. As we wander around, Graham Standring trying to find his next suspect or victim down there on the infield, as it looks like he's wandering over towards Brady Bacon. So we'll wait to see if he can get a chat with the American down there in the 2 USA. And last little bit of track prep going on, and drivers all in their race car, and I believe Graham Standring may just be able to get a word there with Brady as he's in the car.
Okay, now I got Brady with me now. Sorry about that. But Brady, you all set to go, and just last night at Western Springs for you. So we wish you all the best in the future. But what's your plan for the feature tonight?
I mean, the top's going to be pretty fast, but I think you're going to be able to, you know, slide across and pass some people. So got to get through the first couple laps and kind of see how our car is and start picking some off to get towards the front. And I'm sure we're going to be in lap traffic pretty early, so it's going to be pretty, you know, important how you can dice through traffic. But I think we're going to have a good car for that. So let's do our best here and try to get up to the front.
The car's been pretty good for you the whole time, even in Palmerston the other night. So yeah, how does it compare to your American car, for example?
There's a lot of differences with the wings and the tire rules over here, so it's kind of hard to get a grasp, you know, on what you need to do to the car. And then on top of the tracks being quite a bit flatter and narrower, and the little procedural differences. So we've gotten better every time we hit the track. So hopefully this is the time we can get it all right and take a victory home with us to the United States.
I want you to take the victory home. I saw you do your macho thing in America, and I've seen it also here in Australia, or in Australia when I was there. So let's hope that you can get to the front, and good luck.
Thank you.
Geez, I think Graham Standring got mixed up with what country he was in for a second there. So Graham Standring obviously wishing Brady Bacon all the very best as the push bikes get pushed off the racetrack and we start clearing things out as we get set to tear around the bull ring here at the quarter mile Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway for 30 laps. I'm going to take the opportunity if I can. I know Graham Standring's obviously still down there on the comms. Graham, I'm not too sure if you can still hear me there, but from what you've seen as the track's evolved, you know, obviously with the talent that we've got here tonight, we haven't had a chance to ask you from last week, but who's your pick here for the 30 lapper?
When you get a front row with Jonathan Allard and Michael Pickens, that could be the race. But if anything goes wrong between those guys, then I'm going to say after that I'm going to cover myself with Brady Bacon and T-Mez, but also young Cooper. I mean, number 2 on his car, the same as Brady Bacon. So he's a flyer as well. There's some fast guys here, and I've almost left out young Myers. He is a rocket ship at Christchurch. It's good. So it's one of those sort of races you don't want to put your money on everybody. You'd like to cover the field if you could, but if I had to pick one guy, I'm going to have to say I think Michael Pickens will come back with a vengeance after not racing last week. He's had a good chance to watch. I'd say he's going to be pretty good, and he's off grid 1.
Yeah, good pick there, Graham Standring, and obviously for Michael, he DNF'd that feature race for the midget, so he's had a little bit more rest time probably than what he's used to getting when he's pulling double duty and running back-to-back and having limited time there. And obviously with having to walk around the outside of the stadium, he's obviously feeling fresh and ready for this one here as we see the J.A. Russell Aztec Electrical number 92 of Chris Kernahan. Great young racer and hard charger as well, so looking for a good run here. Chris Kernahan to redeem himself after last week's venture into the wall with his buddy Zach Sokol. So I guess while we're rounding things off, Graham Standring had his pick. I think he was pretty certain. He pretty much covered off the whole field, I think, but I think Mike Pickens was his pick. Nick Brown, what do you got?
Look, I'm going with Graham Standring. I said Brady Bacon at the beginning. I'm going to stick with Brady Bacon.
Okay, you haven't changed his mind. He hasn't convinced you otherwise.
No, but the big thing about this race is at 30 laps, whoever is running off the front, and that's Jonathan Allard and Michael Pickens, they are going to be hooning around this track, and they're going to be catching traffic really quickly. So it's whoever handles traffic the best is going to be the winner. And if anyone gets caught up in traffic, watch out for Joel Myers Jr. to just rail around the outside and pull off an amazing drive. But then again, so can T-Mez, so can any of the drivers out there. So it's going to see how we go. If we get a clean run all the way through, traffic is going to be the great leveler on the track tonight. So I'm sticking with Brady Bacon.
There we go. So there you have it. There's your two picks from Nick Brown and Graham Standring. And I tell you what's going to be interesting here, obviously 30 laps the distance. Time management is going to come into play here. And obviously with the Speedway New Zealand ruling around tyre management with tyre doping and treatments and the likes, there's some drivers out there experimenting with all kinds of things. So we'll keep an eye on that and how this one prevails. It was great to have a chat to some of the teams and drivers before the feature, before the night's racing started, and discussing those things. So as the season prevails, keep your eyes on that as we look to get this field bunched up behind the safety car. But my money's on Jonathan Allard starting off the front row with MP. But one thing you can be sure of, there's going to be fireworks, there's going to be action, and it's coming to you right here at the quarter mile Luke Saw Western Springs Speedway as we go set to go racing for 30 laps coming up shortly. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The 4 wide salute is done, and the racing is about to happen as we get to set to tear them loose for 30 laps as we get the drivers gridded up. Your front row, Jonathan Allard, Michael Pickens, and lurking right behind them, Max Guildford haven't had a great night so far, and Dean Cooper in the 2NZ off that second row, and the gas man, the wild man, the 21P of Stephen Taylor not far behind on the outside of the third row as well. And great result there for the Tree King number 16 team, with Ryan Barry starting out of the 4th row as well. As we get set to go racing for 30 laps, Allard and Pickens is your front row. Allard gets the initial jump, but Pickens rounds him up around the outside. Allard, and we've got Cooper up and over down at turn number 1 on the opening lap, and that is going to be his night, done and dusted. And unfortunately there's looks like a bit of oil down there on the racetrack as well. And Stephen Taylor, the gasser, parked down there as well. It doesn't look like any considerable damage there, so hopefully for the 21P to get a restart there and cure a replay. So look here, the third car, there it is. That's what you call side bite, ladies and gentlemen, and a whole heap of it, and up and over. Let's see, how was the contact with Stephen Taylor? Oh, how's Brock Hallett and the 1NZ of John Myers Jr. managing to navigate their way around that? Great heads-up driving for those two and the rest of the field as well. So potentially have to get some words from Graham Standridge shortly. Not that he can probably see a heck of a lot from down there in the middle of the track, but looks like we're going to get a restart here, Graham, for the 21P of Stephen Taylor. But that was nasty, and certainly a lot of moisture up there, and that's what bit the 2NZ driver of Dean Cooper.
Yeah, it is. It caught him out for sure. What happens, this is what happens, when you get a group of these cars going around in close proximity like they were, you end up with all the, they talk about winging in and getting the aero on the wing. So, like we heard Timmy saying, if the guy's at the top, I run at the bottom. If the guy's at the bottom, I run at the top. That's to get them fresh air on the wings. But when you get a whole lot of guys running around the track, just like those guys were, they actually causing virtually a whirlwind of air around the track. So the amount of air that they're getting on their wing is much less than they would be if they're starting at the front, especially when they're in that close of proximity and they're going that fast. So when you do that, you get the situation where he backed it in like you would normally, and there wasn't any wind there to stop the car from going sideways. And then of course he hit the track, only part of the track with some real grip, just like young Ben Morrison and the other guys, and tipped it over. So one of those things, but I think, yeah, learning curves.
That's it, and great to see the young racer in the 2NZ out of that race car. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Dean Cooper, A-OK, and walking his way to the infield, no doubt a little dejected there with his second up and over for the season in that new race car. So unfortunately, too much side bite, and the way that car came over was just super vicious. But great to see that he's okay. And we'll be looking to go back to a full restart here and back to our original front row with the Daltons, number 4 USA, starting off the inside of Michael Pickens. There he is, the JB Hydro Extreme driver Dean Cooper. Certainly dejected, and great news though for Stephen Taylor. Hopefully that car's A-OK, not sporting any wounded panels or the likes by the looks, but we'll have a look at that race car as he goes by. And the North City Diesel machine gets fired up and back to restarting this one. We'll take a look as he goes past the commentary tower. That car looks pretty good. As we take a look, that's a sad, sad state to the, certainly the top wing, but potentially under that sad looking wing. The car doesn't actually look too bad, dare I say it. Certainly the wing mounts in the top wing are done and dusted, but it's done its job, and it's squashed the rear tail tank and nudge bar there at the back. But all being said, from afar, it doesn't actually look that bad. So the top wing doing its job and taking the load and softening the blow there. Go. So as we look to go a green very shortly, the flag started, giving the drivers the roundup to get themselves back into position. And in fact, down at turn number 2, there was some oil dumped out of that race car as Jonathan Allard navigates over, as we're going to see here. Right there, bit of chalk dust, some wood chips, and Bob's your run. Oil still gone. So Dean Cooper, he was previously starting out at grid position number 4, so the outside of the second row is going to be vacant. So good news for the 21P driver of Stephen Taylor, who's going to close up there. And in fact, just looking at Stephen Taylor's, if there's any kind of damage, it's the front of the wing stay on the top of that car is pulled in. So as the car is tracking towards you, you'll notice the top of the left-hand side of the wing is pulled in. So that is the only damage, certainly cosmetic, and won't affect it too much as he drives towards us down into turn number 3. The front stay of that wing is pulled in. As we get to go green on the full restart here, the green waves, and it's Allard and Pickens rounds up and hits the front of Allard down the straightaway into Midas turn number 1. And no fair, no foul, and we fight on here as Allard now chases down Michael Pickens, and we're going to get our first lap in the book. So 29 laps remaining here, and plenty of action in the mid-pack as well. Brock Hallett looking like he's the driver on a mission as he rounds up around the outside of Ryan Barry and moves himself up into the fifth position. So already up 5 spots. Brock Hallett from 10th to 5th. He is on a mission. Let's keep an eye on him. But Allard still running in the 2nd spot. Chasing him down is the local Auckland driver of Max Guilford. His teammate Joel Myers Jr. not far behind. And then there's this man, the Haikoki number 71 of Brock Hallett. Just as we say that, he high-sights down at turn number 2. And bikes that car up in that run that took the race away from Dean Cooper there. But already Pickens only 1 turn away from finding himself into the lap traffic. And that is when this race comes alive, as who can get there, who can work his way forward the best, as Pickens now on the back of Brian Edwards as the team car of Dean Cooper. Brady Bacon finds himself around, not too far away from where his teammate went up and over. So the 2 USA goes around. So Nick Brown's gun pick for this one finds himself pointing in the wrong direction, and we're going to have to wait and see if there's any damage to that race car. It actually looks a-okay, but already just down the racetrack from where that right rear is positioned, we're starting to see more of that berm or cushion starting to develop there, and potentially that may be what caught Brady Bacon out and fired that race car around. So, albeit Pickens had a great lead over Jonathan Allard, but this is potentially good and bad for Michael Pickens. He was right on the back of Brian Edwards and about to come into the first of the lap cars to navigate through. So, take it as a good or a bad thing. Pickens is going to have another shot at this along with Jonathan Allard. He'll be looking for a better restart as we see Brady Bacon's car looks to be a-okay with no damage to that JB Hydro Extreme 2 USA. But Jonathan Allard not having the best restart on that last time, coming down to take the green, bumping wheels with that of Michael Pickens. And fair play, they played on, and unfortunately for Allard, the advantage went to Pickens, and he drove off from that point. But with only a couple of laps run here, the driver that is working his way forward, Brock Hallett in that Haikoki number 71 machine. He is certainly the driver that is proving a point, working his way forward, having started out of grid position number 10, now on the inside of row number 3 on the restart here. Lights are still on, so we're going to go one more time around Luxor Western Spring Speedway, and now we find the teammates, both Max Guilford and Joel Myers Jr. on that 2nd row lockout. And as we keep mentioning, the 71 Haikoki man is working his way forward. Brock Hallett, the Australian gun, is on a mission. Let's wait what he can do here with 4 laps in the books as we roll out the remainder 26. Pickens guns it early and runs high side around the outside of turn number 4, and once again gets the jump on Jonathan Allard. And here comes the battle from the 46 machine, and we've got Stephen Taylor up and over down on the entry to turn number 1, and that brings out the yellows once again. So we've got a runaway wheel down at turn number 2 off that race car as well, and that's taken the right front clean off that front axle. So heavy damage there to Stephen Taylor as the safety crew are trying to work out the best way of rolling that car over, but unfortunately the two of them probably not going to happen. And Stephen Taylor, after that earlier restart as well, he was trying to work his way forward from the rear of the field at that point in time. So he was running a lot further back than what he had liked, having started out at grid position number 6 originally. Pickens certainly looking like the dominant force early on here. Remembering, no completed green lap there, so lap count is still only showing as 4 laps as we tick off another driver DNF from this one here. And Graham Standring, I believe you down getting your piece of the action in the bunker.
Yeah, I'm not close enough to see, but I'm going to suggest that because Mr. Taylor was involved in that first incident, that he's probably copped a bit of damage in that, and then it's carried on through. So when the car tipped over there, I see them looking inside the wheel, and it looks like that the hub is still in the wheel. So not that the wheel has come loose and come off, it might have broken the axle at some stage or broken the casting that holds the front wheel. And that, again, like I say, is more likely part of the earlier incident when he was tangled up in the first crash with Dean Cooper.
That's very much there, Graham, and potentially caught up in that incident with Stephen Taylor. We've got a visual coming to you shortly of this car right here, Steve Smith. So the front wing is severely damaged there on the Henderson Automotive number 76, so I can't help but feel that's actually rubbing on the inside of that right front. So no doubt Speedway New Zealand will be taking a better look at that race car, and no doubt if it's deemed to be unsafe, that'll be unfortunately a retirement fit there for Steve Smith, one of the genuine nice guys of the sport, and having spent a long time of his career racing in the TQ ranks. So unfortunately, yeah, as Graham said, a lot worse than obviously the previous encounter that Stephen Taylor had down there at turn number 2. And unfortunately a junk wing there. And that'll be the end of that, as well as that front axle. So very interesting to see how this is going to play out. But more often than not, as we unfortunately say in motor racing, is yellows bring more yellows, and it's certainly the case here. And the track's certainly delivering plenty of action, albeit a completely different racetrack to what we had last week, and probably a lot more to the preference of drivers, these conditions. But unfortunately for the likes of Dean Cooper, Stephen Taylor, and the likes, not how they wanted to end their night here for night 2 at Luxor Western Springs Speedway, as we see Steve Smith retiring to the infield. So after a red flag stint, we're set once again to get this good-looking front row of Jonathan Allard and Michael Pickens restarted and fired up. Lights are out, and we get set to tear them around Luxor Western Springs Speedway for 26 laps here, and Pickens gets the initial jump from Jonathan Allard. Joel Myers Jr. sneaks into that 3rd spot and holds himself there, followed by his teammate Max Guilford in the Suck It Up Ranch Bar and Grill number 46. And Allard now trying to work his way forward, but he's got to be careful as he sets his eyes firmly on the back of Michael Pickens that he doesn't leave himself vulnerable for the hard-charging Joel Myers. No doubt that dirty air is going to come into effect soon. Pickens with clear air front and back, and that's the advantage until he gets into the lap traffic. And the first of the lap cars is going to be either Nico Pinkerton or, believe it or not, Brady Bacon, who's running down the back end of this one. So great to get back to green flag racing conditions. It's Pickett from Allard, from Joel Myers Jr. And there it is, another spot picked up for Brock from Australia. And the 71 Haikoki machine finds himself now up into the 4th spot. And it's only going to be a matter of turns until Michael Pickens finds himself into the lap traffic. And that first car is going to be that of Nico Pinkerton. So Brock Hallett under all kinds of pressure from the man out of Canterbury. Matthew Levisic taking it wheel to wheel with the Australian. Pickens right up against the wall, being hounded by Jonathan Allard, as we see Brady Bacon and Corbin Anderson come together just in front of here. There we go. So Pickens now getting around Nico Pinkerton. I can't help but feel that this is going to close up, and the lap traffic is going to throw this one wide open and bring this race back together with Jonathan Allard and Michael Pickens. About to wait and see. Michael Pickens about to lap none other than Brady Bacon in the 2 USA. So some of the best in the business duking it out as Brian Edwards gets a little bit out of shape there with Pickens right behind him. Allard closes up. That leaves the door open for the 4 USA. The man out of Chico, California gets left to dry a little bit there in the middle of the racetrack in the black slick. But Pickens has got to watch out, because this is where the race comes alive. 13 laps completed here as Pickens now hunting down the American Brady Bacon. Joel Myers Jr. now into the lap traffic as well. Brock Hallett not far behind, as well as Max Guilford. Pickens doing everything he can to try and stay ahead, navigating through the rough stuff up close to the wall. Doing a great job at this point in time. Allard just lurking, not far behind. Let's wait and see how this one goes. Pickens running that right rear right through the rough stuff. That's where the drive is, but it's also the most dangerous part on the racetrack, trying to get through those ruts. There is grip there, and you've got to be oh so careful to make sure that you're hard on the gas as you hit them, as Pickens now trying to get up the inside of Brady Bacon. Luke Brown in there as well. That is the roadblock that is in front of Michael Pickens and Jonathan Allard. So the more that those drivers go toe-to-toe and side-by-side as Allard slides up the racetrack, and the right front just glances off the left rear of Michael Pickens. So Pickens now knows that the man out of Chico, California is there. And here it comes. Jonathan Allard makes contact once again with Pickens. Pickens right up in the grippy stuff. Allard slides under him, and the 4 USA now takes the lead. As we pass the halfway distance here, as Allard hits that cushion, allows Pickens back through. The front wheels fly on the dogs. It's 4 USA, but this is where it's at. And all while this is playing out, it's allowed the 1NZ of Joel Myers Jr. to come back into this race. So the 1NZ is now right on the back of Jonathan Allard. So as Pickens and Allard duke it out, they've got to be careful, because fellow American Joel Myers Jr., your current 1NZ, is right there to pick up the crumbs. Currently sitting on the last step of the podium as Pickens and Luke Brown come together into turn number 3. This is not over. With 20 laps completed, 10 left to run. The CRC Z-Build, number 54, and Pickens. Looks like we've got a little bit of smoke potentially coming out of left-hand side. Pickens hits the wall. So, throwing this wide open. Pickens cannot get around the outside of Luke Brown. Just as we say that, gets a little run, cuts the nose off the ITM Whangarei, number 89. So as the laps count down with single digits, 7 laps left to run. It's Pickens from Allard, from Joel Myers Jr., and right behind him, Brock Hallett is closing in on the American. Matthew Levisic not far behind, but Brock Hallett is the man on a mission. That is where the real battle is for that last step on the podium. Pickens cleared out once again from Jonathan Allard. Great to see MP back here at Luxor Western Spring Speedway, but with only 4 more laps left to run next time by, Allard still hunting down Michael Pickens with only a car length between them. What is going to happen with 4 laps left to run? We're about to find out. As this ticks down, Pickens still in the thick of the lap traffic, coming up behind Ryan Barry. Pickens from Allard, from Myers Jr. and Brock Hallett and Levisage not far behind. Pickens right up on that drivey part of the racetrack. He's got to be careful. He's got to be smooth. He's got to be fast. But he's also got to be smart with it as well. With 3 laps left to run, Pickens certainly earning his paycheck here tonight at Luxor Western Springs Speedway. The CRC driver picks off another one of the lap cars. And Pickens going to pick up the white flag this time by. So the last lap here for the 30-lapper International Sprint Car feature. It's Pickens from Allard, from Myers Jr. as they get round turn 3 and 4 for the final time. And it's going to be Michael Pickens that takes victory for International Sprint Cars, night number 2. So it's Pickens that takes victory from Jonathan Allard. Joel Myers Jr. coming home on the final step of the podium. And not far away was Brock Hallett and Matthew Levisage with an absolute drive of the race going to Brock Hallett, making up those 5 positions. But nothing to take away from this man. He's back to form and back here at his home, Luxor Western Springs Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, the CRC Z-Build number 54, Michael Pickens. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Michael Pickens taking victory on night number 2 of the International Sprint Cars. Unfortunately, Michael's first night back at the Springs, no one's told him about the new podium on the middle of the infield. So the team are going to have to work their way over there. But Jonathan Allard and Joel Myers Jr. down there on the infield with Graham Standring. But there's the hugs from Steve and Hayden Warrington, the team, the brains behind the number 54 sprint car. And there it is. Great drive from Michael Pickens, redeeming himself after that flat right rear in the midget feature and back on the top step. There he is. Justin Inslee as well. So there it is. We'll get the number 54 over to the podium and we'll jump down onto the infield with Graham Standring very shortly.
Jonathan, second place. It was a hell of a race.
Yeah, I had to get the bit between my teeth and really try to get after him there. I thought we were catching him the last few laps, but he doesn't make many mistakes, that kid, and that's the reason he's one of the best around here. And just appreciate racing him. I raced him pretty hard, and he gave me room, and I didn't give him much room, so that's the way it goes. But we're happy to be here. We had a great last 3 races, and now I can't be disappointed with second.
Yeah, second tonight, but the International Series leader, so the winner of the International Series. So well done for first overall.
Just a neat to see a racetrack you can race side by side on, and I tell you, my guys have put a lot of effort into this racetrack, and like I say, second to Michael's not too bad. We hate to do it, but he's a great race car driver, and he deserves it.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Well done, first overall. Michael, mate, that was quite a race, that one. I saw you not panic, but man, you certainly had to get going when you saw Jonathan approach you and get into it. Yeah, let's keep you coming up towards the podium here where you get this awesome 54 car that I helped put together. Yeah.
You know, it was a crazy race. I was trying to pace myself and, you know, entering sort of above those ruts down in 3 and 4 there, and then Allard showed his nose in traffic, and at that point I had to step it up a little notch, and it was just really tricky getting the right line, and I changed my line up a ton, and kind of ran the final line I ran was a line that I felt I made less mistakes, so that was enough to get the win.
Yeah, I saw you. What was really hard with lap traffic was you're actually chasing Brady Bacon. Now, he's pretty fast as well, so it's not like you could clear lap traffic very easily and then get on with the job. You were sort of not held up by them, but it made it more difficult because they were taking your wing air off you.
Yeah, he was doing a hell of a job, and to be honest, I kind of started following him a little bit, watching what he was doing and how his car was reacting through the holes and whatnot. So, but man, honestly, I've got to thank my guys. We unfortunately destroyed a car last week. This thing was only 6 shows old. So, the boys, they don't give up, and Daniel did a good job for us last week. It was just unfortunate what happened, but massive thanks to my guys. They had it stripped down, straightened on Monday night, and back together during that week. So, huge thanks to them. Warwick McKenzie, my car owner. CRC, of course, Siebel's here tonight. We have so many people help us do what we do, and we really wouldn't be here without them.
Yeah, that was a hell of a drive. Shame about the midget feature, but certainly well done. Thanks, Michael. Ladies and gentlemen, winner of feature number 3 for the International Series, Michael Pickens.
Thank you.
Joel, I'm looking for Joel Myers. Here he is. Joel, you had to come from the depths. You said you'd get to have a crack, and you got up to 3rd, but pretty good job.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Got lucky with, Cooper and Steven getting together. I honestly hit them and kept it going. I don't know how, but yeah, it was good. Just, showed my nose to Jonathan a couple times. Just nothing, never really had anything from Michael. Just was a little snug, but Caleb and Dylan worked their butts off. Dan, Hooley, Courtney, everybody behind the scenes. Max helps a lot, as well. So just can't thank everybody that's a part of this team, the ranch, Suck It Up, Vortex Lubricants, FK Roddens, Indy Performance Composites, The Edge, just everybody that's a part of this deal, Truck House Park Wash, and then, obviously got Dan, who's a big supporter of mine. He's let me come out here for 3 years. So can't thank him enough. And Dad Lee's at home supporting me to come do this and live my dreams. So yeah, just, proud of the guys. Top 3, definitely a big improvement from Thursday night. I was pretty down on myself. Thursday I could have done a lot of things better. And, tonight just showed that, just got to pick your heads up and keep moving forward.
Yeah, you've got a hell of a fan base here in New Zealand now, so it's really fantastic. You'll be racing in Christchurch all through the summer, so if anyone wants to come and check you out down there, they'll see you at Ruapuna Speedway?
Yeah, for sure. And then I think late January we head back up here and run up in the North Island for the whole month of February and going into the title. So should be good, but like I said, can't thank everybody a part of this team that makes it happen. And, it was a long track up here, but definitely paid off.